This is question 22 of chapter 3, and we get this graph here, and I'm asked to find the zeros as well as their multiplicities, factored form, standard form, end behavior, and y-intercept. We'll start with zeros. You can see it hits the x-axis here at -2, and then it also hits at 2. And then because this one, it smoothly bounces off of the x-axis, that tells us that this zero has a multiplicity of 2, and so we get a 0 at x equals -2 with a multiplicity of 2. And then we also have this one, as I pointed out, over at x equals 2, and that has a multiplicity of 1, because that one just goes straight through in a straight line. And then factored form, we can take these two zeros and turn them into factors, and so the x equals -2 as a factor would be x plus 2, and then because it's a multiplicity of 2, that means I would square this, and then the x equals 2, 0 as a factor would be times x minus 2, and that's just a multiplicity of 1, so I won't add an exponent there. And then that is going to be multiplied by a, and so that's just f of x. And then we're going to solve for a by plugging in a point that we know, which is right here at 0, -8. So for x, I'll plug in 0, and so I get -8 equals a times 0 plus 2 squared times 0 minus 2. Then we get -8 equals a times 2 squared times -2. And then we have -8 equals a times 4 times -2, and then 4 times -2, -8 equals a times -8. And then just divide both sides by -8, and we get a equals 1. So that means that we don't have to actually write the a, so our fully factored form is just going to be f of x equals x plus 2 squared times x minus 2, and that's our fully factored form. Now we can multiply that out to find standard form, and so it will be f of x equals, let's start with multiplying out the x plus 2 squared, and so x plus 2 squared is just going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4, and then we still have that x minus 2, so we can then get f of x equals, then we'll multiply x to every term here and get x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x. Now we'll multiply -2 to every term and get minus 2x squared minus 8x minus 8. Barely fit that. Okay, and then we combine like terms, and you get x cubed. There's the 4x squared and the -2x squared, which is just plus 2x squared. And then the 4x and the -8x gives you -4x, and then just minus 8. So our fully standard form is f of x equals x cubed plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 8. Now to find end behavior, we can use the leading coefficient and the highest degree. The leading coefficient tells us whether it's going to go up or down on the right side of the graph, and in this case it's positive 1. So as x goes to infinity, f of x goes to infinity as well because it's positive. And then this odd leading or highest degree tells us that it's going to do the opposite on the other side. So as x goes to -infinity, f of x goes to -infinity. And then we can plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept, and we will get y equals 0 plus 2 squared times 0 minus 2. We get 2 squared times -2, which is just 4 times -2, which is -8, and that checks out with our graph.